And I heard that most of you are going to have your term tests starting from Monday. Who is going to have term tests starting from Monday? Can I have a thumbs up? Who is having term tests starting from Monday? Okay, 27. Okay, others? I remember some of you already told me the term test situation, but I can't exactly remember. Term test Monday පටන් ගන්න අය කවුද? Did you all study? Okay, did you all study? I think you will be getting the first 4 or first 5 lessons, right? And also, at which lesson are we now? We did the first lesson, we did the second lesson, we did the third lesson, we did the 5th lesson, which is geometrical optics, and we are in the 4th lesson. Am I right? Yes, no? Okay. Where did we stop last day, Lamai? I have, am I lagging? Give me a second, Lamai. I'll change the network. Check if it's okay now. Is it okay now, Lamai? All right, okay. Hari, අපි කොතනද අන්තිමට නැවැත්තුවේ? Where did we stop in waves? I remember we did transverse waves and longitudinal waves. We watched videos also to understand it better. And I'm not writing anything on the board. Not yet. And where did we stop? What did we last do? Did we start electromagnetic waves? Taptaka kyanna, we can't wait for too long. Okay, we started electromagnetic waves, and where in electromagnetic waves are we now? Quickly tell. We did characteristics. Characteristics, did we write characteristics? Ah, no, we have the note. Okay. So where we have stopped last is characteristics of electromagnetic waves. Okay, give me a second. I know, and I hope that all of you have the note with you. Please take the note out. So we are currently doing page number page number 5, right? So today we have to do page number 6. Okay, let me get the note to the whiteboard. I hope everybody can see the whiteboard. For those of you who cannot see the whiteboard, I will send the link in the main chat. You can click on that link and you can view the whiteboard. Okay. All right. So we already talked about what electromagnetic waves are. We said electromagnetic waves are waves where there is an electric field and there is a magnetic field and they are perpendicular to each other. ඒ දෙන්නටම perpendicularly තමයි wave එක ඉස්සරහට යන්නේ කියලා අපි already කතා කරා, right? And then we said electromagnetic waves are not affected by external electric and magnetic fields. They do not require a material medium, right? ඒගොල්ලන්ට solid තිබ්බත් එකයි, liquids තිබ්බත්, gases තිබ්බත්, medium එකක් නැති වුණත් they will propagate, right? And they travel at a speed of 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1 in vacuum, right? So now today we are going to talk about different types of electromagnetic waves. Mayuri Paboda, are you a newcomer today? You can either unmute or let me know in the chat box. Let me know if you are new today.
Yes, teacher.
All right. Okay. So I hope you understood where we are standing right now. We did the first 3 lessons. We did the 5th lesson, which is light. And then we came to the 4th lesson. So we are like halfway in the 4th lesson. Okay. So you can stay for today's class and you can see if the class is okay for you. And if it is, you can let know on WhatsApp or something if you're continuing. Then the office will handle the rest, right? Okay. Now, there are so many electromagnetic waves, right? Electromagnetic wave. Now, we know what they are. So, under electromagnetic waves, there are different types, right? So, we are going to learn a few types. What are these? Ekak thamai gamma rays. Gamma rays is one of the electromagnetic wave types. Then we have X-rays. Then we have UV rays. Then we have visible rays. UV rays thamai, we call them ultraviolet. UV ahala තියෙනවනේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ. Then visible rays. Then infrared rays, අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියනවා IR rays කියලා. Then we have microwaves and radio waves, and we have like the frequency ranges. Danata, don't worry too much about frequency. I'll talk about it in a bit, right? Now, look at this spectrum. So, Lamai, if you take these different types of electromagnetic waves like gamma, UV, X-ray, visible, infrared, microwaves, radio, all of these different types, we are going to arrange them in the order of their frequency. As you know, what is frequency? As you know, what is frequency? As you know, what is frequency? Quickly tell. We have learned all this already.
Number of oscillations in a unit time.
Number of oscillations in a unit time. Good. And I said oscillations are, in other words, waves. Kochara waves ganak tiyanada in 1 second or in a unit time. Now look at this spectrum. If you look at this spectrum, I will label this as I will label it as A section, and this corner I will label it as B section. Just for now. Do you think section A has a higher frequency or section B has a higher frequency? Okay. Tinura says, okay, Tinura ge answer ka hammuna mata. Others, what do y'all think? You can let me know in the chat box. Do you think section A, it can may path, may corner ke the frequency ke vadi nata may corner ke, which is section B. Metna Chenuli, okay. I got your answers. Who's that?
Teacher and Metmi.
Ah, right, okay. Metmi, okay. I got Metmi's answer. Then others? Come on, Lamai. Ko anita hai? Chenuli, Evindi. Chenuli kiwan Evindi, Mayumdi. What do you think? Mayuri, Rashmika, Risindi, Savinu, Tinura. What do you think? Section A or section B? Has a higher frequency. And mangai kiyanna matak karanna frequency kiyanne number of oscillations or number of waves in a unit time. Okay, Tinura answer kawa. Okay. Earlier, I'm sorry if I call your name again. Okay, Mayumdi. Okay, Vindi. Okay. Now, if you look at section A. Section A, okay, waves are very far apart. In section A, the waves are very far apart. Since the waves are very far apart, එක second එකකට set වෙන waves ගන්න අඩුයි නේද? In section A, the waves are far apart, so the number of waves captured in 1 second is very low. එහෙනම් actually here frequency should be low. Because as we said, frequency is the number of waves in a unit time. Api unit time mein hitam seconds kiyala. So that means number of waves in a second, in 1 second. Here in the A part, නැත්නම් මේ corner එක පැත්ත බැලුවොත්, the waves are far apart. So in 1 second, the number of waves captured within 1 second is low. එහෙනම් ඇත්තටම මෙයාගේ frequency එක low. If you look at the B side, look at the waves, they're very close to each other. එන්නේ මාරු ලං වෙලා තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් ලං වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන්නේ the number of waves captured in a unit time, that means in 1 second, is more, right? Number of waves in 1 second is more. එහෙනම් ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන frequency එක වැඩි. Did all of you understand the story of frequency here? This corner, ඒක තියෙන corner එකේ frequency එක අඩුයි because waves are far apart and not many waves are captured in 1 second. If you take the B part, that corner, this corner, has a higher frequency because waves are closer to each other, so more waves are captured in a unit time. හරි, එහෙනම් frequency එක හරි. ඉතින් අපිට පේනවා from this corner, මේ corner එකේ ඉඳන් මේ corner එකට යනකොට the frequency is gradually increasing. මෙහෙනම් මෙහෙට යනකොට frequency වැඩි වෙනවා. මෙතන frequency අඩුයි. Here frequency is higher. That means frequency is gradually increasing. That's why I have mentioned frequency increases. Right? Is that clear to all of you, Lamai? Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Okay, now let's talk about wavelength. මේ තියෙන A side එක. Now, you already know what wavelength is, right? So can you tell me, is the wavelength higher in A or higher in B? Is the wavelength higher in A or B? Okay, Mayundi. Okay, Chenuli. Okay, Tinura. Okay, Rashmika. Okay, Mayuri.
Teacher, by higher, do you mean longer or?
Yes. So wavelength, if you take wavelength as a quantity, higher means the value becomes larger, right? So value becomes larger means, in other words, yes, the wave becomes longer. You're right. So what is your answer then?
A.
Okay. Met me okay. Then others? Yes, Lamai. Now wavelength kiyanne the length of one wave. If you take this wave, this is the length of one wave. Okay, this is too thick. This is the length of one wave in A. If you take B, you can barely draw one wave. Right? One wave, the length is much shorter. Wavelength is the length of one wave. So we can clearly see, since in A, the wavelength is longer, or the waves are longer, the wavelength is higher. In B, the waves are very short, right? There's not many gaps. So the wavelength is lower. එතකොට A වල wavelength එක වැඩි, B පැත්තේ wavelength එක අඩුයි. That means when you go from here to here, wavelength decreases. Is that also clear to all of you, Lamai? All right. Now we have an idea about how frequency and wavelength changes in electromagnetic spectrum. It's all good. Then we have different types. If you take our electromagnetic spectrum, we have in our syllabus, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electromagnetic waves. So out of these 7, gamma rays have the highest frequency. frequency එක වැඩි කියන්නේ මෙතන frequency එක වැඩි කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ පැත්තේ. So gamma rays is here because the frequency is the highest, right? Then second highest frequency is X-rays. X-rays also have a very high frequency, but it's a little lower than gamma rays. So we can find X-rays here. Then the next one is UV rays. UV rays, the frequency is less than gamma and X, but more than the rest. So UV වලත් පොඩ high frequency එකක් තියෙනවා, but only less than gamma and X-rays. So here, this is where we make the ultraviolet rays. This is where we have UV rays. Okay. Then we have visible rays. Visible rays have the next highest frequency. So here we have visible rays. මේ visible rays තියෙන මෙන්න මේ section එක ළමයි. This is the portion consisting of visible rays. And ළමයි, these are the only rays that we can see from our eye. So you know, we can see certain colors. If you know this, all colors are made from red, green, and blue. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of how all colors are made from red, green, and blue? Yes or no? Others, what do you think? I can somehow colors වලට RGB code එකක් කියලා තියෙන්නේ. RGB code එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ because all colors are made from like red, green, and blue mixing, but like more or less ගානට mix වෙලා තමයි හැදෙන්නේ. Okay. So එතකොට all these colors that we can see, yeah, white light වලින් තමයි. White light එකක් prism එකකින් යවුවම ඒවා කැඩෙනවා colors 7කට. That's what we say rainbow colors. But even those rainbow colors, you can form any of those colors by mixing red, green, and blue. That is the basis of the color spectrum. Okay. So etakota, generally we have learned 7, like we say rainbow colors. Rainbow colors are quite important because that explains the spectrum of colors. Right. Etakota me visible rays wala tiyenne oy colors tika thamma. We have violet, we have indigo, we have blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, right? So that is our visible rays. We cannot see gamma, we cannot see X rays, we cannot see UV, infrared, microwaves, radio waves. None of those we can see. But visible rays we can see, right? Infrared rays. Next highest frequency is infrared waves. They are here. They are here. I want to show you. See, මෙතන sun එකක් තියෙනවා නේද? Sun එක cover කරන areas දෙක මොකක්ද? Can you see visible rays වලත් sun එක ඉන්නවා, UV rays section එකෙත් sun එක ඉන්නවා. What they're trying to say is that the sun emits visible rays, right? Also, sun also emits a little bit of UV rays too. Okay. Did you know this? That sun emits UV rays? Okay. So, are UV rays good for our skin? Are UV rays good for our skin?
No.
Okay. So this is just general knowledge. What protects us from UV rays?
The ozone layer.
The ozone layer. Melanin waling protection ekak hamba wenawa. Yes, that is true. But something external to our body that gives like a larger protection is the ozone layer. Ozone layer can atmosphere ke ek layer ka. Okay. So here's the thing. Now, if you take UV rays as a whole, you said UV rays are not very good, right? But we cannot say UV rays are not good. UV rays like different types of UV rays. UVA, UVB කියලා හැම දෙනෙක් දැනගන්න ඕනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ. But නිකන් දැනගන්න for general knowledge. පොඩ්ඩක් UV rays හම්බුනාට කමක් නෑ අපිට. You know, they say like to go out in the morning so that like your body produces vitamin D, right? So එතකොට UV we need but a little bit. ගොඩක් આવුත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? They can damage our DNA and like can cause skin cancers and all that. හරිද? පොඩ්ඩක් ආවට කමක් නැහැ. කොහොමත් ozone layer එකෙන් 100% protection එකක් හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Okay? Is that clear? Up to that point, is it clear? Others? Okay. I have a question. Just Nika went හිතන විදිහට කියන්න. Question are more like a discussion because sometimes මම එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට class එකේ කියන්න ඇති, of course we learn everything in the syllabus, but you know sometimes it's okay to be curious, right? And to learn extra things. So my question is, ඇයි කියන්නේ උදේට එළියට යන්න කියලා? Why do they say that the morning sun is good? Why not the sun at noon, like 12 p.m. noon? Or why not evening? Why does it have to be the morning sun? Why does it have to be the, okay, to get vitamin D? Hari. ඇයි එතකොට දවල්ට එන්නේ නැද්ද vitamin D? sun එකේ vitamin D නැහැ ඇත්තටම.
Like from in the morning, like we get only a little bit of sun ray, like the light rays from sun. During noon, direct light rays emit from the sun.
Yeah, more or less it's correct. So, okay, I am also getting answers in the chat box too. So I think this is very good for you to know as like something general. මොකද ඔගලන් like this is like a day-to-day life thing, right? ඔගලන් නිතරම එළියට යනවා, ආව යනවා, and you always interact with the sun, and you always like you have heard of this vitamin D morning sun story. So actually, sun ගෙන් vitamin D හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. We don't get vitamin D from the sun. We get UV rays from the sun. ඒ UV rays වැටුනහම skin එකට අපේ skin එකේ තමයි vitamin D හැදෙන්නේ. So sun doesn't give you vitamin D. Sun gives you UV rays. When the UV rays fall onto your skin, your body makes vitamin D. That's the first thing. ඔයාගේ body එක තමයි vitamin D හදන්නේ. Sun එක දෙන්නේ UV rays විතරයි. So when you take vitamin D, now UV rays වල මම කියන්නේ මේක syllabus එකට ඕනේ නැහැ, but UV rays වල there are two types. ඒ එක type එකක් තියෙනවා, එයා තමයි vitamin D හදන එක්කෙනා. UV rays වලත් vitamin D හදන UV ray type එකක් වෙනම තියෙනවා. That UV ray type is very weak in the evening. Evening එකට එයා හරි පොඩ්ඩයි තියෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ ගොඩාක් අඩුවෙන් එන්නේ. ඒතර evening sun එකට ගියා කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. Afternoon like 3-4 වගේ time එකට එළියට ගියා කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ because අර vitamin D හදන UV ray එක එන්නේ නැහැ ඒ වෙලේට. It's like a very little amount. But morning sun, that UV ray is coming. The noon sun, again that UV ray is coming. So morning sun එකට ගියත් ඔයාගේ skin එකේ vitamin body එකේ vitamin D හැදෙනවා because that particular UV ray is coming. And in the noon also, like 12, you know, 11 12 එක time එක ඒ time එකටත් ඒ UV ray type එක හොඳටම තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒ වෙලාවට හොඳටම vitamin D හැදෙනවා ඔයාගේ body එකේ. But there's a problem. UV rays ගොඩක් එනවා කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ body එක damage වෙනවා. I told you, skin damage, DNA damage, mutations, all of that can occur. So දවල්ට මහ දවල්ලා like හරියටම නිකන් දවල් 12ට වගේ. The sun is right at the top. So the sunlight is very intense. Yes, it gives UV rays. And that UV ray can produce vitamin D in your body. That is correct. හොඳට vitamin D හැදෙනවා. But at the same time, your tissues will get damaged. Your skin tissue will get damaged. There will be DNA damages, mutations. ඒවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එකින් එක හොඳත් වැඩි වගේම නරකත් වැඩි. But if you go out in the morning sun, UV ray අර vitamin D හදන UV ray එක එනවා චුට්ටක් විතර weak, but it's still coming and it still works. ඔයාගේ body එකේ vitamin D හැදෙනවා. At the same time, the morning sun is not very intense. So that UV ray will not cause any tissue damage. Right? So morning sun is the best. Vitamin D ගානට හැදෙනවා. Tissue damage එකකුත් නැහැ. But දවල් ගියොත් vitamin D හොඳට හැදෙනවා. But tissue damage and DNA damage, all of that also happens. හවස අවුවට ගියා කියලා vitamin D හැදෙන්නේ නැහැ. Okay, is that clear? So now you know when somebody asks you to go out under the sun in the morning for vitamin D synthesis, you know what happens. Okay. එතකොට that is what I wanted to show you here. Sun emits all the visible rays and also some UV rays, right? Then infrared rays are here. Then the next one is microwaves. Microwave is the second lowest one. එයයිනේ මෙතන. Radio waves තමයි අඩුම frequency එක. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මෙතන. Right? So මේ පැත්තේ frequency එක වැඩි, මේ පැත්තේ frequency එක අඩුයි, but මේ පැත්තේ wavelength එක වැඩි, මේ පැත්තේ wavelength එක අඩුයි. All good, right? Okay. Now let's move on to our next page. So we are going to now learn applications of electromagnetic waves. Now, Mayuri, you don't have the note, but for now, just follow what I'm showing on the whiteboard. I will send you the PDF note. All right. Applications of electromagnetic spectrum. Now we are going to talk about like all these different electromagnetic waves, the types, individual. Now, frequency vadima, but wavelength adumekena gamma rays, right? Gamma rays have the highest frequency and lowest wavelength. So let's see what they have given us about gamma rays. Emitted by radioactive elements. So gamma rays sun එකකින් එහෙම එන්නේ නැහැ. Gamma rays emit වෙන්නේ radioactive elements වලින්. Now radioactive elements are mostly used in like a little bit of radioactive elements are used in usual normal chemical labs, but mostly radioactive elements are used in nuclear labs, right? The nuclear labs, nuclear centers, nuclear stations, nuclear power plants, ඒ වගේ තැන්වල තමයි ගොඩක් radioactive elements ඉන්නේ. So even constantly gamma rays emit වෙනවා. So that is why people working at nuclear power stations and power plants and wherever, nuclear labs and all that, they have to always protect themselves. So එක එක විදි තියෙනවා දැන් gamma rays එහෙම මොකක් හරි emit වෙනවා නම් ඒක block වෙන විදිහට මොකක් හරි container එකක වගේ දාලා තියෙනවා. එහෙම තියෙනවා එක එක විදි to prevent these rays from coming into contact with the human skin. Because people work in nuclear power stations වලත් මිනිස්සු වැඩ කරනවා, right? Nuclear labs වලත් මිනිස්සු වැඩ කරනවා. Frequencies and energies of gamma rays are extremely high. We saw, right, earlier, gamma rays have the highest frequency. Look at the waves, very, very close, right? So our frequency is much higher. ඒ වගේම තමයි the energy is also very high. That means they're very intense, right? ඒ කියන්නේ මේ තියෙන්නේ can penetrate even thick sheets of steel and concrete slabs. අපි ගත්තොත් මෙතන concrete එකක් තියෙනවා. Does not, like අපි දන්න විදිහට light, අපි light කියලා කියන්නේ, does light go through a concrete slab? Does light go through a concrete slab? No. No, right? එහෙම light යන්නේ transparent නම් විතරයි. මම තනිකරම windows මොනාත් නැති concrete වලින් හදපු room එකක ඉඳන් ඇතුළේ light එක දැම්මොත් එළියට light එක යන්නේ නැහැ. Windows තිබ්බොත් obviously යනවා, but no windows means the light inside will not go out. That means light will not go through these concrete slabs or even metal sheets. Light will not go. අපි light කියලා ඉගෙන ගත්ත හැටම visible rays. Remember in the 5th lesson we learned about light, no? That's visible rays. Gamma rays are not like that. Gamma rays you cannot see. They are so strong and so intense. We said the energies are very high, no? They are so intense that they can go through metal sheets and also concrete slabs. Can it thick solids through they going to penetrate so you can imagine the intensity and the energy, right? So that is how powerful gamma rays are. Let's see what are the users of gamma rays. They're used to destroy cancer cells. Because of their high intensity, we said the energy is much higher, right? එතකොට cancer cells destroy කරන්න gamma rays use කරනවා. When gamma rays are like sent to a cluster of cancer cells, those cancer cells will be destroyed. ඒක හරි පරිස්සමෙන් කරන්න ඕනේ මොකද cancer cells are among normal cells නේ. Cancer cells with normal cells ඉන්නවනේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් if let's take a cancer patient එයාගේ body එකේ cancer cells උත් තියෙනවා normal cells උත් තියෙනවා, right? එතකොට මේ වගේ gamma rays ආවදී normal cells destroy වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. So there has to be like proper methods. I'm not very aware of those because they're very medical, but it has to be done very carefully just to destroy the cancer cells. Used to sterilize utensils used for food and surgical instruments. Surgical instruments, surgeries are done for your body, like inside the body, right? එතකොට හිතන්න සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කෙනෙක්ගේ body එකක් කපලා ඇතුලේ organs කපලා මහනවා ඊට පස්සේ I don't know like different ඔයගොල්ලන් බලලා තියෙනද එකේ medical dramas එහෙම? I know that you all watch English series and movies. Some of you watch Tamil ones and Hindi ones and Sinhala ones. Some of you watch Korean ones, maybe other countries. Anybody has watched any like medical dramas or movies? No? එකක්වත් නැද්ද? මොන language එකකට
Yes, but not like, yes, but not the full movie, like scenes in the film.
Okay, what? Do you remember the name?
No.
Good Doctor කියන එක මම අහලා තියෙනවා අර Netflix එකේ තියෙන එක නේද? It's a yes, that's the one. Recently there was a season or something.
What's the name, teacher?
Tinur has watched something called The Good Doctor. There are a few seasons. It's a series. I haven't heard of Doctor House. There are like
I watched Hi Nana, like it's a Tamil movie.
Yes.
It's about system fibrosis, like something about a heart disease.
Yes.
And like they'll transfer a heart. It's about
Hi Nana, I have watched. It's a very nice movie. So AK පොඩ්ඩක් exaggeration තියෙනවා හැබැයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට medical dramas and movies ගත්තොත් එහෙම certain things are exaggerated, but you can sort of like get an understanding. Hi Nana is more like not more like a medical drama, and it's more like other things, but there's a medical part as well. But yeah, so ගොඩක් වෙලාවට surgeries එහෙම ඔයගලන් දැකලා තියෙනවනේ ඔය movies වල යනවා, and even like if you have watched documentaries and like YouTube videos or surgeries එහෙම තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට you know how sensitive it is, right? Cutting the body, getting inside and like cutting all these organs and tissues and stitching. So it's a very sensitive thing. හිතන්න එක bacteria එකක් හරි patient ගේ body එකට enter වුණොත් that's going to be a huge problem for the doctor and that entire team. There could be bacteria, like good bacteria are there, but I'm talking about like a harmful pathogenic bacteria. A virus, maybe a fungi, maybe. වගේ enter වුණොත් මාර case එකක්. ඒකින්ද all these surgical instruments, they have to like clean them very well. නිකන් සබන් දාලා detergent දාලා එහෙම හොදලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන් මොකද දන්නවද කරන්නේ? They have like this oven like box. ඒ පොඩි box එකක් නෙවෙයි ඒක ලොකු එකක්. oven එකක් වගේ ඒක ඇතුළට දාන ඔක්කොම surgical instruments. As far as I know, then like there are like these rays and all that. Gamma rays are also there. Where like the surgical instruments will be sterilized. Sterilized කියලා කියන්නේ ඔක්කොම microorganisms අයින් වෙනවා. Right? So that is done for surgical instruments and for food as well, but not like all these restaurants and all that. But sensitive food එහෙම හදද්දී එහෙම කරනවා. So because gamma rays are very intense, they destroy all these microorganisms, right? Then X-rays. X-rays are very common. අපි හොඳටම දන්නවා X-rays වල කතාව. X-rays travel easily through soft tissues in the body, but intensity decreases rapidly when traveling through bones. Therefore, they are used to take photographs of internal organs of the body. Have you seen an X-ray? Give me a thumbs up if you have seen an X-ray scan photo.
Yes.
Okay. Then, when you look at an X-ray, it looks more like bones, right? ගොඩාම නිකන් බෝනි වගේ නේද photo එක තියෙන්නේ. Scan photograph එකේ. Have you noticed that? Yes.
Yes, teach.
Yes. So you can see more of like the
I got
skeleton.
one of my head, like the brain
All right. So එතකොට ඒකෙත්
of mine.
you saw like mostly the skeleton part, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So ඔය fractures ආවම වැටුනහම sports injuries එහෙම එකෙම X-ray scan එක තමයි ගොඩක්ම අර I mean there are probably other scans, I don't know, but X-ray is like a very commonly heard scan, right? So එතකොට ඇයි ගොඩක් මේ bone structure එක පේන්නේ? Because when you send X-rays through a body, අපේ tissues through යා ටක් ගාලා ලේසියෙම යනවා. හැබැයි bones වල වැදුනහම intensity එක අඩු වෙනවා, X-rays ටිකක් ආයෙ reflect වෙනවා. ඒ reflect වෙන ටික capture කරලා තමයි photograph එක හදන්නේ. ඒතර bones වල වැදෙන ඒවානේ reflect වෙන්නේ. So those will be used to get the photograph. But also like organs වලත් you can get an idea, but mostly bones වලට තමයි හොඳ like fractures අරම හොඳට පේනවා. Organs වලත් rough understanding එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් because some places there are like soft tissues. Some places there are like harder tissues. එතකොට ඒවත් එක්ක එක එක විදිහට තමයි X-ray එක යන්නේ. ඒක එක විදිහට යන එක තමයි photograph එකට අහුවෙන්නේ. Therefore, they are used to take photographs of internal organs of the human body. That is a very valuable application of X-rays. Excessive exposure to X-rays can cause cancers. Now, we know X-rays have a very high frequency, right? Gamma වලට වඩා චුට්ටයි නේද? They also have a very high frequency. So, when you are constantly exposed, can සාමාන්‍යයෙන් X-ray scan එකක් නිකන් මොකක් හරි පොඩ්ඩක් කරන ටක් ගාලා X-ray කියලා එහෙම යවන්නේ නැහැ, right? So X-ray scans යවද්දි හරි කියන්නේ carefully යවන්න ඕනේ මොකද let's say one person has undergone X-ray scans for like multiple times, that is a bit risky because X-ray scans have a like gamma rays වලට පොඩ්ඩක් අඩුයි, but yes. Yes, Ashita.
What is like known as MRI and CT scan?
MRI කියලා කියන්නේ magnetic resonance. So there are magnetic waves are used, right? You are talking about the CTI scan, right? CTI scan එකේ
CT scan.
CT scan cathode ray scan ඒකේ මම හිතන්නේ electrons එකක් කියන්නේ. Let me double check. CT scan එක yes. Yes, they are using a dye and they are using electrons. Yes. So ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක නිකන් අර මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා තියෙනවද නේ angiogram කියලා තියෙන heart වලට කරන එකක්. So ඒ වගේ ඒගොල්ලන් dye එකක්
That
දානවා.
means like it is like X-ray, right?
Yeah, more or less like X-rays, yes. But X-ray ke aar haritama like there's a particular type of beam that's going. But if you take CT scan, it's we call them ionizing radiation. ඒ කියන්නේ radiation එකක්ම තමයි, but it's more like electrons. Electrons in the ions hadila ion beam එකක් තමයි යන්නේ. Okay? So
Okay,
එතන dye එකේ වැදිලා ඒ dye එකත් එක්ක interact කරලා තමයි photograph එක හැදෙන්නේ. Then MRI වල use කරන්නේ magnetic rays, magnetic waves. All the magnetic fields තමයි use කරන්නේ. MRI එක තමයි අර මෙහෙම රවුමක් තියෙන ඇතුළට යන්නේ. That's MRI. Then X-rays are generated by bombarding high-speed electrons on metal targets. Here, part of the kinetic energy of electrons is converted to X-rays, right? So what you do is you send a beam of high-speed electrons. Make it sure ahanne hai, but just understanding එක විතරක් ගන්න. You send high-speed electrons. They hit on a metal target. Target එක hit වුණාට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? දැන් මෙහෙම high speed electrons එනකොට they have a high kinetic energy, right? So when they strike on the metal target, some of that kinetic energy will be converted to X-rays. X-rays is a form of energy transmission, right? So එතකොට X-rays වලට convert වෙනවා. එහෙම තමයි X-rays හැදෙන්නේ. So users අපි එකක් already කතා කරා used to take photographs of internal organs and අනිත් එක තමයි now airline passengers and cargo passengers ගත්තාම there's a lot of luggage, right? There's a lot of luggage. එක මිනිසෙක් at least දෙකක්වත් ගෙනියනවානේ with the like the big one and then there's the hand luggage, right? So it's not possible for the staff there to like check each and every bag, right? So what they do is they do like an X-ray scan where like they can get an idea of the contents inside the bag without opening the bag. ඒකෙත් වෙන්නේ same thing X-rays යවුවම අර X-ray scan එකේ body එකේ photo එකක් එනවා වගේ තමයි, right? So in both the airline passengers and cargo passengers we use that to examine the baggage. It's very important නේ හැමලෙම baggage බලනවා, right? Airport එකේ and port එකේ harbour එකේ. Okay, so that is about X-rays. Is that clear? Give me a thumbs up. All right. Okay, give me 1 second, Lamai. Okay, Lamai. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, UV rays. Now we already talked a little bit about UV rays, so we'll talk about it in a little more detail. Give me a second. Can you all hear me? Okay. Ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet means above violet. May above violet කියන එක මම තා චුට්ටකින් explain කරනවා, so keep it for now. UV rays are invisible to human eye. Of course, we cannot see UV rays, okay? But insects like bees can detect UV rays. So now certain flowers, Lamai, we see them as like very colorful flowers, no? Ehitana samara mal, somehow satunta they see the colors. But if you take an insect like bee, bee to pain UV rays within tamai ka pain. So if I were to show you a picture, something like this, just to get a rough idea. Google leke make a This is a 1 second, it's uploading. Can you all see this flower that I put to the whiteboard? Okay. මේ බාන මේ flower එකේ අපිට පේන්නේ මෙහෙම it looks very yellow no but B ට පේන්නේ අනිත් පැත්තට. B cannot see all these different fancy colors but B see something else entirely. දැන් බලන්න මේකේ මේ වටේ yellow වටේ white වගේ මැද red වගේ. මේක නෙවෙයි exact එක. Exact one is again different because UV we cannot see නේ. මේ UV rays වලින් නිකන් photograph එකක් වගේ ගහපු එකක්. So this is what B see. This is the normal color. The yellow one is the normal color of the flower. So bees see it differently because they can detect UV rays. Okay. Sunlight contains a small amount of UV rays. We already talked about this. They are also found in electric discharges or electricity leakages. Well, it was electricity produced. The UV rays are formed. Then mercury vapor lamps, there's a type of lamps. Again, there's UV. They produce vitamin D in the human body. We already talked about this. Overexposure can cause cataract in the eye. Cataract. And also cancers in the skin. So these are the features of the UV rays. Then let's see what are the users of UV rays. 1 second. UV rays are used in the hospitals to kill germs. Now, UV rays are not as strong as gamma rays, right? Gamma rays are very intense, no? So, UV rays are not as intense as gamma rays. Gamma rays are used for more sensitive things like cleaning, surgical instruments and whatnot. Then, generally hospital clean karaddi, germs kill karana, they use UV rays, right? Used in hospitals to kill germs. Some chemical substances show glitter when exposed to UV rays. Used in banks to check hidden symbols in currency notes. Now, lamai, there are certain chemical substances, right? These chemical substances, api normally nikam baladdi, mukut penne, they are just as they usually are. But if you hold UV rays under UV light, they will shine. They will be like glittering. Okay. එතකොට currency notes ඇතුළට මේ chemical substances දානවා. You know, currency notes like if you take Sri Lanka, the 5,000 note or 2,000 rupee note or whatever. And just in other countries also, they have currency notes. Ne? Currency notes ඇතුළට මේ chemical substances දානවා. They're like hidden symbols. So when you just see the currency note, you cannot see anything. It just looks like a normal currency note. But if you put it under the UV light, you can see those chemical substances glittering and shining. Right? එතකොට අපිට එක එක දේවල් එක understand කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay? To check hidden symbols in currency notes. Then මේ chemical එකම සමහරවිට washing powder වල දානවා. This chemical substance that shines when exposed to UV light, that chemical substance in very low concentration, පොඩ්ඩයි දාන්නේ washing powder වල දානවා. දැන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒ washing powder දාලා ඔයාගේ ඇඳුම හොදනවානේ. And then හොදලා now your cloth also gets a bit of that chemical substance. Now when you go under the sunlight, දවල් වරු වගේ උදේ දවල් වගේ එළියට ගියාම sun has UV rays. When those UV rays fall onto your cloth will also kind of show like a glittery color. It's not going to be like super flashy, but podi shine එකක් තියෙනවා. Okay, if you are wearing like silk because that material itself is quite shiny. එතකොට ඒක washing powder වලත් දාන්න. Is that I have a question. Questions 4ක් වෙනවනේ 3යි පෙන්නන්න. One second, I can't view your chats. Okay, now it's okay. So I can see Tinura's question. MRI machines use higher amount of magnets as well. Yes, they use magnetic power. Is it the reason there is high skin cancers in Australia? Australia level high skin cancers. Now, Samaning, if you take like generally UV rays are good only up to a certain extent, right? But if you take overexposure to UV rays, that can cause cancers and cataracts and whatnot, right? That is why the ozone layer is there. However, in the Australia region, the ozone layer is damaged. We call it depleted. So ozone layer ටිකක් damage වෙලා තියෙන හින්දා UV rays වැඩිපුර එනවා country එකේ මිනිස්සුන්ට. So එතකොට ඒකින්ද මේ පැත්තේ ටිකක් skin cancers වැඩි. Okay? Sorry. You have done an MRI scan. Yes, MRI scans are ඔය පොඩක් කියන්නේ body එකේ features එහෙම බලන MRI scans කරනවා. MRI scans are actually like not very common. Very common කියලාම කියන්න බෑ, but X-ray scan එකට වඩා හොඳයි MRI scan එක. මෙහෙමයි දෙන්නගේ purposes දෙකක්, right? MRI scan එකට වඩා X-rays වල ගොඩක් bones වලින් bone photographs ගන්න පුළුවන්. But MRIs are more what do you call it, like more safer MRI scan rather than the X-ray. But have you heard of something called ultrasound scan? Oh, an ultrasound scan.
Yes,
Where have you heard of it?
they do for pregnant mothers.
Yes, exactly. They do for pregnant mothers. So ultrasound scan also is very safe because obviously we are dealing with a fetus, right? A baby growing in a womb. It has to be very very safe. Ultrasound ගැන we are going to be learning in the future. ඒ වගේ තමයි MRI පොඩ්ඩක් ඉතින් අර එක එක තියෙනවා complications ඕනාට වඩා ඕන දෙයක් ඕනේ නැහැ, but MRIs are
But
generally safe.
MRI, we shouldn't do it like more than twice or
Yes,
thrice. We shouldn't do MRI.
yes.
It'll make our cancer cells increase in it.
Yes, because of the magnetic, like all this, because you're subjected to magnetic fields, right? Changing magnetic fields. එතකොට එහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකයි මං කිව්වේ anything too much is not good. But compared to all the scans, MRIs are the safest. X-rays are also X-rays again හොඳ නැහැ, but තව තියෙනවා මාරම ටිකක් what do you call them, more intense scans. ඒවත් එක බලද්දි X-rays are okay. Not the best, but okay. You know, the CT scan that you mentioned earlier, CT scans are quite strong. ඒගොල්ලන් CT scan එක කියන්නේ වැඩියම safe නෑ. But again, like once in a while, if it must be done, it must be done. It's okay.
Like doctors also mostly recommend us to take it in government hospitals because like they only have the proper ones
Yes,
than
yes,
famous hospitals.
that's true. That's true. Because what I would say is, again, this is my personal opinion. I don't know what you think and what your opinion is. But whatever said and whatever done, government hospitals are the best. Because private hospitals, of course, they're more comfortable and what do you say, like facilities, I think, yeah, comfort facilities, I think they are okay. They're better than government hospitals. But if you talk about facilities in terms of medical, like medical facilities, government hospitals are the best because doctors are better. Product nurse la part එක දානවා සමහර වෙලාවට, not everybody, certain, you know, පොඩි පොඩි දේවල් තියෙනවා තමයි. මොකද කිසිම දෙයක්
No,
perfect
teacher,
නෑ.
then government hospitals, private hospital nurses are very rude.
Yes, no?
Recently, I experienced the baddest
in a private hospital.
nurse. Yeah,
That's okay, really.
really I had a headache and like I went to take X-ray and then they gave some medicines to be taken. And then like you know the canola that
Yeah.
they'll put in the
Right.
hand.
Yes.
So like she she injected that for the first time and without asking again she removed. And the second one, like she used 4 canolas for me to like
Yes.
just for 4 bottles she used 4 canolas for me.
All right. So they're not like considerate
She's
now.
just like shouting.
That's like because back in the days that was the experience in government hospitals because I have a vision problem and I went to this doctor and a doctor ge antima because that doctor went abroad and එයාගේ antima appointment එක මට යන්න ඕනේ ඉඳා I went to the eye hospital. This was like a long time back, I think 2008 9 wage. Were you, I don't know if you were born at that time. Kohomari giyama the like the I mean the eye hospital was like so crowded, so many people of all age categories and ගොඩක් ඒ කියන්නේ මාරම crowded. That's how government hospitals are. That was not a problem. But the nurses were like very nurses විතරක් නෙවෙයි අර හරියට ඒ කියන්නේ room එක එක rooms වලට යන direct කරන කට්ටිය ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම මාරම strict, very heartless back in the days, right? ඔක්කොම අර even the old people they don't really understand much, right? They are old, right? But they even scolded the old people for like mistaking rooms and all. So generally back in the days I did not have a very good experience and a good impression about government hospitals, but later on in mage impression එක ගොඩක් හොඳ වුණා and like
Now they have the best facilities.
yes, and also the doctors are much more credible. මම මේකත් කියන්නම් before we jump back to the lesson. There was this case I read on Facebook. එක ඩොක්ටර් කෙනෙක් එක දාලා තිබ්බේ actually my partner read it and told me ඒ ඩොක්ටර් දාලා තිබ්බේ කතාවක් ඒ ඩොක්ටර්ගේ නිෆියුට තමයි ඒක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ ඩොක්ටර්ගේ මල්ලිගේ පුතාටද කොහෙද ඒ පුතාට මොකක් හරි I think stomach එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි තිබිලා it was apparently quite simple. Private hospital එකට ගිහිල්ලා. So එතකොට ඒක බලලා ඒකට අදාළ treatment එක දෙන්න එපා. But apparently one of those doctors yeah මොකරි හරි intense treatment එකකට ගිහිල්ලා I think treatments කීපයක් කළා. Like intense treatments for a simple problem. Right? I don't know, maybe they wanted to like increase the bill value or something. Bill එක වැඩි කරගෙන වැඩිපුර සල්ලි ගන්න වෙන්නේ නැති. එහෙම කියලා මට හිතෙනවා. I don't know. And because of those intense treatments, the child has developed an allergic reaction and that child has passed away. A very, very young child. So, ඒ වගේ situations තියෙනවා. ඒ ඩොක්ටර්ගේ නමම දාලා තිබ්බා මට නම නම් මතක නැහැ.
Here it happened for a baby teacher.
Yes. So that's
like
the
a baby around 8 months
mm-hmm.
were taken to a laboratory. They have used the injection to take blood that they use for us. That big injection was taken and it has been
given to the
allergic.
Summoning ඕනම බෙහෙතක් දෙද්දී they first check for allergic reactions. Otherwise nothing can be injected, right? So summoning හිමයි කරන්නේ මම දන්න තරමින් allergic reactions බලලා පොඩ්ඩක් මේවා කළා allergic reactions බලලා they do like this full blood test to see if your body has any allergic reactions and then only they administer injections or any other medication, right? So because private hospitals can, I'm not talking about all private hospitals, just a few, they can be sometimes more money oriented and they are like a little understaffed. මොකද ඔයගොල්ලෝ nursing jobs වලට apparently government hospitals pay much more. So government nurses are more credible and the best apparently. So again, that's just what I think and what I have heard. You could have different opinions, but I was just sharing my opinion. And let's come back to the lesson. Okay, so visible light. What did I say about visible light? I told you that visible light is the light that we can see. This is the light that we can see. I told you about the rainbow colors, right? So rainbow colors තමයි අපිට පේන colors ටික. ඒතකොට rainbow colors it's not just those colors, but it's like a spectrum. Something like this. You know this already. මම නිකන් picture එකක් පෙන්නන්න. This entire spectrum we're talking about. This is the visible light spectrum. ඒ කියන්නේ the red කිව්වම red විතරයි, orange කිව්වොත් orange විතරයි, එහෙම නෙවෙයි. It's like a gradient. එතකොට දැන් මේක තමයි අපේ visible light spectrum එක. When I say visible light, I'm talking about all of this. So visible light වල අර අපි simple විදිහට කියනවානේ colors තියෙන red තියෙනවා, then orange තියෙනවා, yellow තියෙනවා, then we have green, we have blue, we have indigo, and then we have violet, right? So those are like the basic colors, but of course there are like middle colors as well. එතකොට මෙහෙමම තමයි අපේ electromagnetic spectrum එකෙත් visible light තියෙන. All right. So මේ corner එකේම තියෙන්නේ violet. මේ corner එකේම තියෙන්නේ red. Right? So next to violet we have ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is our UV rays. And then here we have infrared. After red, we have infrared. This is IR. එතකොට ළමයි, let me go up a little. If you look at this electromagnetic spectrum diagram, මෙතන මේ visible light කියලා කියන කොටසේ UV පැත්තේ මෙන්න මෙතන තියෙන violet. Then indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and මෙහෙම ගිහලා මේ corner එකෙම තියෙන red. That is how the visible light path is arranged. එතකොට මෙතන violet, මෙතන red. Now we know, can you all tell me, does UV rays or infrared rays have a higher frequency? Does UV rays or UV rays, yes. I may pattern spectrum again. Micro radio waves are the aduma, then micro, then infrared, visible, UV. So UV wala infrared wala vada වැඩි. එතකොට මේ පැත්තේ තමයි frequency වැඩි. මේ පැත්තේ තමයි frequency අඩු. So we know මෙහෙම යනකොට frequency increases, right? එහෙනම් the same rule applies for visible light also. Red වල තමයි frequency එක අඩුම, violet වල තමයි frequency එක වැඩිම if you just consider the visible spectrum. කියන්නේ visible light section එක විතරක් consider කරොත් red තියෙන infrared වලට වඩා චුට්ටක් වැඩිනේ. So එයාගේ frequency එක අඩුයි violet වලට වඩා. Violet has the highest frequency in that section. Okay? Is that clear ළමයි? And ඒ වගේම තමයි wavelength, මෙතන wavelength එක වැඩි, මෙතන wavelength එක අඩුයි. So මේ පැත්තේ නම් මේ පැත්තට යනකොට wavelength decreases. So same thing happens to our visible light part as well. මෙතන wavelength එක වැඩි, මෙතන wavelength එක අඩුයි. Is that clear ළමයි? Give me a thumbs up, everybody. I want to see if all of you understood. Metmi okay, Metna okay, others? Mayuri okay, Tinura okay, Evindi, Chenuli, Mayumdi, others? Rashmika, Savinu, Ashwita, is it clear? Rashmika okay, Savinu, Ashwita? Ashwita? Let me know. Also, one more thing I forgot to mention you earlier is that next week we are going to have a mini quiz. Okay. Hamo mahagana meka. Next week we are going to have a quiz. It's a mini quiz. Pay bhagyakwat yanne naha itath wada aduwen yanne. Right? I can't tell you an exact time මොකද මම තාම questions ටික හැදුවේ නැහැ. But you are going to have a mini quiz, right? In the quiz මෙහෙමයි quiz එක වෙන්නේ. I hope all of you can hear me, yeah? So others whoever is absent, they will watch the recording and find out. මම group එකේ දාන්න mini quiz එක වෙන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. The quiz will focus on the first lesson. One second, no. Yeah. What did I decide? Let me check. මම මොකද්ද decide කරේ කියලා මට මතක නැහැ. Yes. the quiz is going to be based on the first lesson and the second lesson. So it's going to be just living tissues and photosynthesis. It's just biology. The reason why I thought of focusing on those two lessons is because we did them quite some time back. And I'm worried that you may have forgotten. So I want to double check. So this is how the quiz goes. I'm going to ask a question and I'm going to call a name. Right? Absent or not, quiz eකට 0. Absent na quiz eකට 0. If you have a valid reason for being absent, please ask your parents to call me. Message නෙවෙයි call නා call. Quiz එකට next week එන්න බැරි නම් call එකක් දීලා කියන්න. එහෙම වුණොත් I will consider, but otherwise it's 0 marks. Okay? So මේක එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන් හිතන්න එපා කෝ quiz එකක් දෙනවා වට headache කියලා. ඒකේ negative පැත්තට හිතන්න එපා. Think of it positively. Okay, quiz එකක් දෙනවා. This is a good chance for me to study. Next week quiz එකක් දෙනවා කොහොම අනිවාර්යයෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන් මේ සිතී පාඩම් කරනවනේ lessons දෙක. එතකොට ඒකෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පාඩම් කරන්න chance එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. කොහොමත් term test උත් දෙනවා. That's a different story. But එතකොට otherwise මුකුත් මම deadline එකක්වත් මොනවත් exam එකක්වත් මොකක්වත් නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලන් පාඩම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. That's the truth. So ekahinda that will be done. We are only doing the biology lessons. It will be probably like 15, no, a little more than that. But I will ask questions. I will call a name. Within a certain time period, ඒකට answer එක එන්න. Right? එතකොට එහෙම තමයි marks allocate වෙන්නේ. එහෙම තමයි දැන්ට හිතුවේ. But then there's another way. Zoom එකේ පොඩි tool එකක් තියෙනවා. මම ඒක use කරනවද කියලා තාම decide කරේ නැහැ. මම ඒක use කරනවා නම් ඔයගලන්ට කියන්න. මම එදාට class එක පටන් ගන්න කලින් I will tell you all the rules and how it happens. Anyhow, be prepared for the quiz. Okay? පට්ටක් ගාලා answer එනෝනේ. It's going to be a rapid question round. ඔයගොල්ලන් හිත බල පොත් පෙරල Google කර එහෙම උත්තර දෙන්න පුළුවන් quiz එකක් නෙවෙයි. Rapidly questions එනවා ටක් ගාලා answer කරා යනවා. Next one යනවා. එහෙම. Right? LMS එකේ login ටික ඔයගලන්ට next week මුල වගේ හම්බ වෙයි. හම්බුනාට පස්සේ මම ඒකට demonstration එකක් කරන්නම්. Because අවුරුදු week nobody was working. ඒකින්ද මට ඒකට හරියට අවශ්‍ය foundation එක දාගන්න බැරි වුණා අද class එක වෙනකන්. grade 10 ටික නම් හදලා තියෙන්නේ ඔයගලන්ගේ ටික තාම හදලා නැහැ. But next week I shall guide my team to make those and share with you. So there will be a username password මම ඔයගලන්ට කිව්වනේ. එතකොට next week උත් as usual මම Zoom link එක WhatsApp එකේ දානවා. But from May month එකේ ඉඳන් ඔයගලන් LMS එකට log වෙලා Zoom link එක ගන්න ඕනේ. Okay? All right. I want you all to copy this part down. මෙන්න මේක ඕනේ නැහැ. Obviously color spectrum එක ඇඳලා ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. But මෙන්න මේ section එක section if you have space in the note itself, let's say if you have space in the note එක නම් වැඩි ඉඩ නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලන් බලන්න if you can maybe like write on a sticky note and paste, or if you think you have space note එකේ ලියන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් writing book එකේ ලියන්න. Quickly write this. While you write this, give me like 2 or 3 minutes. I will be back. එතකම් මේක ලියන්න. Am I done? Give me a thumbs up if you are done. Okay. Let's move on. Visible light done. Infrared, visible light. Okay. Visible light we discussed. We'll come back to the note. Okay. Range of electromagnetic spectrum sensitive to eye. This we talked about already. We said out of all the electromagnetic waves, visible light is the only type of electromagnetic wave that you can see. That means that is the only part in the electromagnetic spectrum that is sensitive to our human eye. Region with lowest wavelength and highest frequency is violet. Make you happy. Lowest frequency. What? Sorry. Correct. Lowest wavelength and highest frequency is violet. We already talked about that. Region with highest wavelength and lowest frequency is red. See, highest frequency and highest wavelength and lowest frequency. Main colors are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Right? It's a maker tamara shortcut එකක් තියෙන VibGeol. VibGeol. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Right? That's the set of colors. Infrared radiation. Another visible light. Yeah, we are jumping to infrared. The range of frequency is below red. I told you, right? Red world yatin sama infrared tiya. IR radiation is emitted by heated bodies. Now, if any object is hot, if it's heated, they emit infrared rays. Now, Lamai, there is something called heat photographs, which I haven't included in the note, but you can see on your textbook. Can you all go to page 85 on the textbook? Can you go to page 85 on the textbook? Can you all see at the top, there is something called a heat photograph? Give me a thumbs up if you saw. Okay. So heat photograph IR waves. So if a certain object is like hot, I told you they emit IR rays. So එතකොට ඕනම කෙනෙක්ගේ infrared photograph එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Now හිතන්න we sometimes call heat of the body. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ උෂ්ණ කියලා. උෂ්ණයි කියලා සමහර අයගේ ඇඟවල උෂ්ණයි කියලා කියන්නේ. So if your body heat is a bit higher, infrared photograph එක ගොඩක් තියෙනවා red, orange වගේ shades. හැබැයි උගල හරි cool නම් ගොඩක් තියෙනවා green, blue වලට හුරු නිකන් green වගේ color එකක් තමයි ගොඩක්ම තියෙන්නේ. Okay? Once I went to this place which my mother goes, ඒකේ තියෙන්නේ අර I think it was in Colombo කොහෙද තමයි තිබ්බේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඕර එක check කරනවා කියලා check කරනවා. check කරලා ඒ ඕර එකට හරියන විදිහට ඒගොල්ලන් අර එක beaded bracelets දෙනවා. මම දන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ එක හරියට කරනවද කියලා. I mean if they are doing it accurately or if it's just a business that I don't know. But I know that my mother goes එයාගේ මේ මාතේ bracelets තුනක් විතර තියෙනවා එක beads ඒවා. කොහමද ඒකේ ඒගොල්ලන් කරන්නේ මේ I have to go there and sit and මේ අතර pads දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ pads දෙක උඩින් අත තියන්න ඕනේ. අත් දෙක. And then කකුල් දෙකටත් වෙනම තියෙනවා pads දෙකක්. So I have to keep my feet also on those pads. And then there is this computed system. They do this some sort of something. I don't know exactly. But they generate a heat photograph. ඒක තමයි ඕර එක කියලා කියන්නේ. I mean it was not an aura. මොකද aura කියන එක අපි කියන්නේ it's the positive energy, right? So aura is not something you can get onto a photograph. So what they actually ඒගොල්ලෝ aura එක කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ, but ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇත්තටම ගන්න heat photograph එකක්. ඒගොල්ලන් බලන්නේ body heat එක වැඩිද එහෙම කියලා. if a person is like always very angry, always very frustrated, always like very what do you say, like very anxious, very not in a calm state, generally their body heat is higher, so they emit like mostly red and orange colors. But if a person is very calm mentally, their physical status is also very calm, then they emit like green colors. ඒ විදිහ තමයි photograph එකේ එන්නේ. එතකොට හිතන්නකෝ if a person is emitting like all red, that means යාගේ body heat එක ගොඩක් වැඩි කියලා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන් අර එක එක stones තියෙනවා ළමයි, stones are very powerful sometimes. They emit certain energies. Can you all hear me now? Am I still lagging? One second. Let me try to. Can you check now? Am I still lagging? Now okay, ne? So as I was saying, what they do is now if a person emits like a lot of heat, ඒ කියන්නේ තනික red photograph එකක් නම් එන්නේ, ඒගොල්ලන්ට දෙනවා හරියට calming stones වලින් හදපු beaded bracelet එකක්. ඒතර ඒක දැම්මම ඒක අර balance වෙනවා කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒක accurate ද නැද්ද කියලා මම දන්නේ නැහැ, but scientifically it kind of makes sense. So එතකොට that is heat photographs, right? Let's see the uses of infrared radiation. එකක් තමයි heat photographs. They can be used to identify certain diseases. Then used to send signals on television sets from remote controls. Now, if you have a TV at home, of course, you also have a remote controller, right? So remote again, you change channels, you change the volume, and do whatever you do with the TV, with the remote. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේම මෙතනින් click කරද්දි කොහොමද අතන change වෙන්නේ? That is because when you're clicking a button from here, මෙතන තියෙනවා එක indicator එකක්. ඒ indicator එකෙන් wave infrared wave එකක් යනවා. ඒක television එකෙන් capture කරලා that performs the particular action. Let's say I want to change the channel to change the channel. I click on that button. එතකොට infrared ray එකක් යනවා TV එකට and the channel will be changed. Then used for physiotherapy treatments. You know what physiotherapy treatments are, right? ගොඩක් අර physical treatments where they do massages and like certain other exercises. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඔය sports related injuries වලදී නැත්නම් එක එක strains වෙද්දී එක එක ඔය muscles ඇදෙන ඒවා එහෙම වුණාම physiotherapy treatments වලට යන්නේ. So එතනත් ඒගොල්ලන් infrared radiation use කරනවා. So those are the uses of infrared waves. Yes, in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, no. They don't really use IR. We'll come to that. In Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, not really. Okay. So next we have microwaves. Let me get the picture to the whiteboard. Hope you can see this picture. Okay, these are microwaves. Microwaves තමයි දැන් lowest එක කෙනාට කලින් එක කෙනා. Right? Lowest is radio waves නේ. Radio waves have the lowest frequency. ඊට කලින් තමයි microwave දෙන්නේ. So microwaves have a higher frequency than radio waves, but එයා ඉන්නේ අඩු හරිය නේද? So let's see what are the properties of microwaves. Microwaves can cause adverse effects on our bodies. Microwave ovens produce microwaves, but they do not leak from the oven. It is also advised not to excessively use mobile telephones, because they also emit microwaves. Some microwaves, of course, is not very good because sometimes they can cause certain problems, right? You're using your mobile phone for a long time. ඉතන call එකක හරි හිතන රෑ වෙනකන් calls වල එහෙම ඉන්නවනේ. ඊට පස්සේ එහෙම නැත්තම් phone එක ළඟ තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා. එතකොට ඒකේ හැමලේ microwaves emit වෙනවා. සමහරට ওই microwaves එන් brain එකට damage කරන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර tissues වලට damage කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. So that is why mobile phones ගොඩක් use කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. Right, that's very obvious. Then also in microwave ovens, in the oven when you switch it on, it's microwaves that are working. However, it is okay because සාමාන්‍ය microwave oven එක design කරලා තියෙන්නේ microwaves එළියට leak වෙන්නේ නැති වෙන්න. But just to be safe, it is advised not to go close to the microwave oven when it's working. හරිද? So what are the uses of microwaves? එකක් තමයි used in radar systems. What are radar systems? What are radar systems? Radar systems can long distance detection systems, right? අර එක radar එකක් ඇතුලේ එක එක දේවල් detect කරන්න පුළුවන් system එකක්. So they use microwaves for that. Then mobile telephones වල microwaves තියෙනවා and also microwave ovens. Those are the users of microwaves. Up to that point, is it clear? Give me a thumbs up, Lamai. Others? Others? Everybody. Up to that point, did you understand? Okay. Okay. In plane control room, plane control room එක තියෙන radar system එකක් තමයි air traffic control කරන්න එහෙම they use this radar. එතකොට ඒ ගන්න පුළුවන් ඒ වෙලේ air එකේ කොච්චර aeroplanes තියනවද, any other aircrafts තියනවද කියලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. Especially like war regions වල, because you know war crafts are constantly active, right? So ඒ වගේ ඒවාවල හැම ගොඩක් radar systems use කරනවා. They use like microwaves for that. Okay. All right. Now let's take not just actually airplanes, but also in ships. Ships එහෙම බලන්න ocean එකේ කොච්චර ships තියෙනවද වගේ බලනත් microwaves use කරන්න පුළුවන්. All right. So then finally we are coming to radio waves. This is where we talk about Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, right? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, dekama kiyala kiyane radio waves. This is the type of wave with the lowest what? Lowest mokadda for radio waves. What is lowest in radio waves? Yes, Mayum, the others? Others, mokadda aduma radio waves. What did I say is the lowest in radio waves? Frequency, no? Frequency is the lowest in radio waves. What did I say was the highest in radio waves? Wavelength, correct. Radio waves are used for long distance communication. Radio waves use karna. For an example, if you take now, you already gave some examples. You said Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi, they use radio waves. So when the Wi-Fi is getting the signal from the service provider, now I have a dialogue Wi-Fi, so that Wi-Fi is getting the signals from the dialogue service provider. So got any radio waves a Wi-Fi ke mage phone eකට hari mage laptop eකට hari signal and again radio waves. Okay. And also Bluetooth signals work as radio waves. ඊට පස්සේ radios, actual radios වලට signal in radio waves වලින්. So it can radio it can generate when a thanning radio waves එනවා. So आगे रेडियो के एंटेना आएंगे ये रेडियो वेव के डिटेक्ट करना ये चैनल का प्ले करना टेलीविजन also same radio waves right television वाला तेमा radio waves are produced using radio frequency oscillators when they fall on area it receives the information carried by the wave for transmitting and receiving radio waves antennas are used and their use is long distance communication now I think this is quite interesting because අපි හරියට use කරන radio waves let's take for an example a radio actual radio දැන් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා එක පොඩ්ඩක් briefly නේ කිව්වේ හරියට කිව්වොත් එහෙම now let's say one of the channel light fm right light fm channel එක දැන් ඒගොල්ලන් මොකද show එකක් broadcast කරනවා live broadcast එකක් radio එකේ so you cannot see obviously only sound signals so එතන ඒ signals ඒගොල්ලන් එහෙන් emit කරනවා atmosphere එකට right emit කරන එකට කියන්නේ radio frequency oscillator එතකොට those signals go all over එතකොට දැන් ඔයාගේ විතර රේඩියෝ එක තියෙනවා රේඩියෝ එකට ඇන්ටනා එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒ ඇන්ටනා එකට ඒ සිග්නල්ස් ඩිටෙක්ට් වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා රේඩියෝ එකේ ඒ channel එක කරකවුවොත් එම ඒ channel එකට අදාළ frequency එකේ radio waves ටික විතරයි යා බලන්නේ. Now for an example I can't remember all these radio channel numbers but I remember back in the days I used to listen a lot. ඔය සින්දුවේ මහාන ඒ කාලේ Spotify අරම තිබ්බද කියන මම මතක නැහැ. I was not using but I listen to radio a lot so let's say අපි නිකන් මට මතක නැහැ numbers but let's say for an example 90.9 or something හිතන්න 90.9 කියලා channel එකක් තියෙනවා ඒතර ඒ channel එක කරකවනවා right you want that channel එතකොට ඇන්ටනා එකට සිග්නල් එක ගිහලා එයා ඒ channel එකට අදාළ frequency එකේ radio waves විතරයි capture කරන්නේ දැන් ඔන්න ඒ channel එකේ station එකෙන් ඒ radio waves atmosphere එකට emit කරනවා. දැන් ඔයාගේ antenna එක හොය හොයන ඉන්නේ ඒ radio waves ටික. So as soon as it receives those radio waves that channel will be played. එතකොට if you take like certain channels those radio waves don't go all over the country. ඒකයි සමහර තැන්වලදී සමහර channels වලට signal නැත්තේ. Same with the television. The same thing. Okay? So that is radio waves. Is it clear, Lamai? Up to that point? Any questions? Okay, others? I have a good feeling that we'll be able to finish the lesson, but fingers crossed, we'll see how it goes. හරි. මොකද ඔයගලන්ගේ exam කොහොමද එන සතියේ එන්නේ අපි. බලමු ඉවර කරන්න හරි but අන්තිම හරියට වෙන්න හරි අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් would be better. I think we will be able to finish. Let's see. Okay, now we are coming to sound. I hope up to this point you have no question, no problem, and everything is clear. Okay. Okay. Let me take this part of the note. Okay. Now we are done talking about mechanical waves. We are done talking about electromagnetic waves. Now we are talking about sound separately. What kind of a wave is sound? What kind of a wave is sound? What type of a wave is sound? You have learned different wave types. You have learned about mechanical waves, electromagnetic waves. Under mechanical waves, you also have learned about transverse, longitudinal, and all that. Okay, Metna, correct. Others? Excuse me. Others? Okay, ma'am. The others? Out of all the 10 of you, only 2 remembers? What kind of a wave is sound? Tinura met me. Okay, met me. Rashmika, Ashvita. Okay, Tinura. Chenuli, Savinu, Evindi, Mayuri. It is a longitudinal wave. If you take waves, they can be divided into mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves, and sound is a mechanical wave. Mechanical waves can also be divided into transverse waves and longitudinal waves. ඒතර ඒවෙන් බලද්දී sound is a longitudinal wave. Okay. මෙතනම තියෙනවා longitudinal කියලා නේ. Okay. Sound is a longitudinal wave which needs a material medium to propagate. Now, you know longitudinal waves are mechanical waves, right? Mechanical waves are transverse waves, longitudinal waves. If you remember, mechanical waves always need a medium to propagate. Propagate can to travel. Can it echo solid? It has to be either solid, it has to be either liquid, or it has to be gas. It has to be a medium made of one of these 3 or like combinations. But sound will not propagate. Echo sound, echo solid, echo liquid, echo gas. There has to be a material medium. The type of energy that produces the sensation of hearing in our ears is called acoustic energy. Now, when I'm talking like this, my sound is speaking, right? So that sound, when they reach to your ear, wave waking transport on energy. Do you remember that? So when you cause a certain disturbance, a wave is generated. And we know that a wave always carries energy. So when sound comes from your device to the ear as a wave, it is carrying energy. Right? Device එකේ ඉඳන් ඔයාගේ කනට එනකොට sound energy carry කරනවා. එතකොට sound specifically carry කරන energy එකට අපි කියනවා acoustic energy. Okay? So that energy, only when you get it into your ear, you get you hear certain sounds, right? All animals produce acoustic energy. Here are some examples. Now, main examples are not because of human beings. How do we produce energy? We talk, we sing, we scream, shout, then we produce energy, right? However, when we are generating sound, what actually happens is that when we are exhaling, exhale air අපේ මෙතන larynx එකේ vocal cords වල වදිනවා. We have vocal cords. When we are exhaling, that air strikes on the vocal cords and that will generate the acoustic energy. Okay, let's see. Hyla tree frog. Hyla tree frog is found in South America. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ picture එකක් තියෙනවා textbook එකේ, or you can Google and find many pictures. I will show you one. They're quite interesting animals, like they're quite small, a type of frog. I'm picture එකක් දාන්නම් board එකට. One second. Can you see this picture of the frog on the whiteboard? This is a Hyla tree frog. So they're quite small. They're all green color. And also that's a very a specific green color. A characteristic color mein Hyla tree frog lage. Their green color is like light and quite bright. So they look quite, I would say, visually pleasing. But amutu lassanak තියෙනවනේ. බලමු මේගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද sound generate කරන්න කියලා. Amplifies their voice using an inflatable balloon-like body organ under the throat. Only the male frog generates this sound. when air is expelled by the balloon through two stretched membranes, vibrations occur and sound is generated. එතකොට මේ හයිලටරි ෆ්‍රොග් ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන් දන්නවනේ ෆ්‍රොග් ගේ සවුන්ඩ් එක කොහොමද කියලා. සෝ ඒගොල්ලනුත් normal විදිහට ওই සවුන්ඩ් එක ජෙනරේට් කරනවා. හැබැයි ජෙනරේට් කරන සවුන්ඩ් එක before they come out of the mouth they go through this inflatable balloon. හොඳට inflate වෙච්ච balloon එකක්. ඒකෙන් go through කරද්දි මොකද වෙන්නේ? sound එක amplify වෙනවා. sound එකේ amplitude එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Then that sound becomes very loud. So that is why we say when air is expelled by the balloon through two stretched membranes, membranes දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එයාගේ throat එකේ. එතකොට ඔය balloon එකේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම air ටික ඒ membranes දෙකෙන් membranes දෙකේ වැදිලා එළියට යනකොට තමයි sound එක generate වෙන්නේ. Okay. So only male frog has this particular inflatable balloon. Female frogs don't. Why do you think? Can you make a guess? Can you make a guess? Any guesses? Why only the male frog has this?
To attract females.
Very good. To attract females. මොකද summer nature එකේ එහෙමයි අපි human beings ලගේ we have different mating same mating system but different way how attractions work. But in the animal kingdom ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට animals ලගේ there's something called mating calls. Even birds ලගේ තියෙනවා. Once when I was in university I did this like a small mini research thing where I studied about a particular type of bird. මට නම මොකද්ද? My name because it was like quite a few years back. But ekala COVID කාලේ ඒ කියන්නේ අපි අපේ surrounding එක ඉන්න කවරි animal කෙනෙක් observe කරලා study කරන්න තිබ්බේ. So I observed a bird. So එතකොට මම specifically බැලුවේ ඒ bird ගේ features including their songs and their sounds. So එතකොට what I noticed was birds have different sounds. Frog I'm talking about birds, but birds also we are talking about sound. Ek sound වලට අදාළයි. So birds have different sounds. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ එකක් තියෙනවා like territorial කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ area එක mark කරන්න ඒගොල්ලන් එක විදිහකට sing කරනවා. Song එකක් හරි call එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි. ඊට පස්සේ if they feel threatened predator කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා හරි මොකක් හරි දෙකකින් ඒගොල්ලන්ට attack වෙනවා කියලා ඒගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා නම් threat වුණාම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙනවා threat call එකක්. I'm scared වගේ call එකක් තියෙනවා. So that's a different type of sound they generate. ඊට පස්සේ if there's another one called mating calls or mating songs. When they want to mate, they sing. And the other gender, mostly like female birds, will be attracted. එතකොට ඒක මම මාස ගාණක් නේද COVID කාලේ because everything was online. So I was able to like properly study that bird මොකද අපේ ගෙවත්තේ ගොඩක් හිටියා. එහෙම මට observe වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ when I later talked to our lecturer only I found out like all these different types of sounds generated by the same bird. බලන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ට කොච්චර knowledge එකක් and කොච්චර understanding එකක් තියෙනවද කියලා. They have a very good understanding. When they are threatened, they make one type of a call. When they want to mate, they make a different type of a sound. Same bird, but different types of sounds. That was very interesting. And this is not very relevant, but why do you think in peacocks, why does the male animal has all these like beautiful feathers and are attractive with it, but female peahen doesn't have it? Why is that? To attract females, right? So ek male to තියන්නේ මොකද in peacocks how it works is that females are going towards the male and they do a dance. Very good. ඒක මම ඇත්තටම දැකලා නැහැ, but I have seen videos. It's quite interesting, right? ඒගොල්ලන් අර සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ පිල් විදහගෙන නටනවා කියලා. විදහාගෙන නටනවා, right? So they have this peacock dance. ඒවෙන් ඉන්ස්පයර් වෙලා තමයි පෙරහැරවල එහෙම peacock dancers යන්නේ මොනර නැටුම් කියලා. Right, that's how they were inspired. එතකොට ඒ වගේ තමයි hyla tree frog උත් only the male frog has this inflatable balloon like situation where they emit a sound. That sound is like much amplified. It's super loud. ගොඩාක් දුරකට ඇහෙනවලු. ඒක හරි significant special feature එකක් මේ frog ගේ. So the hyla tree frog is very famous for that reason. එතකොට why do they do that? To attract the females for mating. Right? Animals age හැම කියන්නේ living species age main purpose එක තමයි especially animals mating and producing the next generation. So ඒකට තමයි ඒක තියෙන්නේ males වල විතරයි. Okay. Then bee. Let's see how bees. Have you heard of the sound of a bee? Have you heard of the sound of a bee? No? Yes or no? Me මැස්සන්ගේ සද්දේ ළඟින් කියන සාමාන්‍යයෙන් of course I'm pretty sure that you guys were not in an unfortunate incident being surrounded by a lot of bees, which is kind of scary because bees ලා ගොඩක් ඕගලන්ව surround කරා වගේ situation එකක් ඕගලන්ට වෙලා නැතුව ඇති කියලා මම හිතනවා. But at least like 1 or 2 bees you may have encountered in life, so you may have heard of the sound. Yes, it's a buzz sound. Oh, there's a beehive. සාමාන්‍ය ගෙදරට ගොඩක් ළඟද තියෙන්නේ the beehive. Do bees like come inside the house? Let me know. Sometimes, for light. You've been stung twice. Can I ask, like, when you were stung, what did you do? Because makeup is not lesson. That's why I asked. When you were stung, what did you do initially? Okay, Tinura, Mayumdi, what did you do when you were stung? Right. So, මේක අපි පස්සේ කතා කරනවා. Yes, අපි පස්සේ කතා කරනවා. Does I think it's the 7th lesson. Yes, 7th lesson is acids, bases and salts. ඒකෙදි අපි කතා කරනවා bee sting එකක් ගත්තොත් it's very acidic. එතකොට ඒකට lime වගේ දාන්න හොඳ නැහැ. Lime දාන්න හොඳ නැහැ. ඒ answer එකට lime is also acidic. B ගේ poison එක acidic. ඔයාලකට lime දැම්මොත් මේක තවත් වැඩි වෙලා දැවිල්ල වෙනවා. So you have to like put like baking soda or something like that. Red onions වලින් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් when a bee stings you, because the venom of the bee is acidic, you have to balance it with something like baking soda or sometimes even
Small onions
yes,
are
onions
also good, like
වලින්
they mostly.
yes, onions වලින් ඒක විදිහට නෙවෙයි දෙන්නේ. Onions are quite intense, no? එතකොට අර ඒකෙන් වෙනම relief එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. But සමහර වෙලාවට ඊට වඩා relief එකක් හම්බ වෙන as first aid. Pain එකකට වඩා first aid පැත්තෙන් it's better to like put some baking soda or something like that. Okay? Give me a second, ළමයි. Okay ළමයි. So yes bee sting එක නේ අපි කතා කරේ ඒක අපේ future lesson එකේ එන හින්දා මම mention කරේ bee sting එකක් acidic so සාමාන්‍යයෙන් neutralize කරන්න we put something opposite like a base as I said you can use baking soda or soap එතකොට Ashwita and Tinura were both Mayumdi නේ Mayumdit කී හිටියේ onions ගැන so onions වලින් ගත්තොත් grade 60 but I can't remember exactly so onions වලින් ගත්තොත් onions වලින් acidity එක neutralize කරන්නේ නැහැ so bee sting stings because it's acidic so එතන ඒ acidic ගතිය neutralize කරන්න බෑ onion වලින් however onion has other properties you can instantly ඔයාලට පොඩි cooling effect එකක් එනවා onion වලින් onion has a more like pain relief property හැබැයි first aid පැත්තෙන් ඔයාගේ sting එකට හොඳම baking soda දාන එක lime දාන්න හොඳ නැහැ lime දැම්මොත් ඉවරයි because bee sting is acidic while lime දැම්මොත් acidic ගතිය වැඩි වෙලා පොඩ්ඩ අමාරු වෙනවා හැබැයි wasp ගෙනෙක් වගේ sting කරොත් lime දැම්මට කමක් නැහැ we'll talk about these in the future but onion has like all these like you know අර cooling effect එකක් තියෙනවා පොඩි ඊට පස්සේ like අර ඒකේ තියෙන sulfur compounds අර මේ එතකොට මේ ඒක පොඩි neutralizer antibacterial properties and all that oh your dog ate a bee okay that makes sense that's the type sometimes dogs can be really stupid no okay so yes I think obviously beaver කෑහම ඇතුලේ sting කරනවානේ so I'm glad is your dog okay now I hope he or she is because මම ළඟදී නෙවෙයි දවසක් වෙට් ගාවට යනකොට එහෙම සිටුේෂන් එකක් වෙලා තිබිලා බව්වෙක් ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා okay so one more thing is that ළමයි මේක මේ day to day life එකට important හින්දා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් onion ගාද්දී when let's say a bee stings you apply onion because onion is pain relieving so applying onion is completely okay so එකපාරට onion එක අරගෙන ජොබ් ගාලා තියන්න එපා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් bee කෙනෙක් ආව sting කරාම මේ bee ගේ stinger part එක වගේ skin එකේ තියෙනවා right I know it'll hurt a lot but you have to look closely and you have to remove that stinger දැන් චුටි sharp කෑල්ලක් වගේ කටු වෙනුනහම තියෙන ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා පොඩ්ඩක් so you have to remove that and then you have to like wipe it or something and then apply the onion සාමාන්‍යයෙන් විනාඩි 10ක් 15ක් වගේ තිබ්බාම පොඩි relief එකක් තියෙනවා but then acidity will be neutralized when you add baking soda or soap okay but anyways අපි කතා කරේ sound ගැන right so I was asking you about the buzz of the bee bee ගේ මේ buzzing sound එක එන්නේ when they move their wings to and fro කියන්නේ wings දෙක හයියෙන් move කරනවා so when they are moving their wings very fast that only causes the buzzing sound they don't make the buzzing sound from their throat or like vocal cords or anything like that they generate the buzzing sound completely through the wings okay then crickets how do crickets generate the sound how do crickets generate the sound have you heard of the sound of crickets Alami have you heard the sound of the cricket okay what kind of a sound is that first of all tell me what is a cricket මොකද්ද මොන සතාද cricket කියලා කියන්නේ අපි not the cricket sport no what is a cricket I kind of remember like we talked about something like this before
It's a sport.
yeah of course cricket is a sport but I'm talking about the animal cricket
I have never heard about crickets.
you haven't heard about crickets
Not even seen to.
Have you heard of Rahaya?
No, teacher.
Okay, so crickets are in Sinhala, Rahaya, yes, correct. Tinura met me, correct. That meme sound, I don't know what meme sound it is. But yes, it is Rahaya. Rahaya ge sound එක හරිම unique එකක් ඔය ගොඩක් රෑ වෙලාවට එහෙම ඇහෙන්නේ. අපි රහයටම තමයි කියන්නේ we sometimes call the cricket palagatiya also in Sinhala, right? Rahaya or palagatiya in Sinhala. So you can just Google search and find the sound. හොඳටම familiar sound එකක් වෙයි. ඔයගොල්ලෝ අනිවාර්යෙන් අහලා ඇති එක. So they also have a characteristic sound. They make that sound by rubbing their wings, not moving their wings, but rubbing their wings together. They make that sound. Then humans. There are vocal cords in the larynx. Larynx කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ හරිය. But boys age Adam's apple එක තියෙන හරිය තමයි larynx එක. But of course girls and boys everybody has larynx, right? Larynx එක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා vocal cords. We can never talk when we are breathing in, right? හුස්ම ගන්න ගමන් අපිට කතා කරන්න බෑ. We always talk when we are breathing out, when we are exhaling. When we are breathing out, that air will strike on the vocal cords and will generate the sound. In a sound එක අපි control කරනවා අපේ lips වලින්, tongue එකෙන්, jaws වලින් එහෙම අපි control කරනවා. So you know how to like pronounce different words, you know, like for an example, t. T නම් where is the tongue touching? T. Ch. Then b නම් lips, m lips. ඒ වගේ අර vocal cords වලින් එන sound එක අපි කටේදී තමයි manipulate කරලා එක එක pronunciations generate කරන්නේ. But sound එක හැදෙන vocal cord එකේ. That sound we change them as we want in the mouth to pronounce different letters and words and all that, right? So එතකොට when exhale air passes through vocal cords, they vibrate and produce sound waves. Okay. So okay. Propagation of sound waves. We talked about sound waves. No, we saw a video last week. Do you all remember that video, Lamai? How longitudinal waves move? Do you remember that video last week that we saw? How longitudinal waves are propagated? Yes or no? Not last week, sorry. Last week was a holiday, no, the week before the last. Give me a thumbs up if you remember. What is this? Don't you remember? Api last week, we watched a video of how transverse waves and longitudinal waves are propagated, right? Did we or did we not? Can you all hear me, Lama? Okay, එහෙම වීඩියෝ එකක් අපි බැලුවා නේද? ඒක මතකයිද ඔයගලන්ට? How longitudinal waves move, do you remember? That's what I want to ask because I'm not planning to show the same video today also.
Yeah,
එකම
I
වීඩියෝ
was
එක
not there.
Alright, okay. Last week recording link එක එවලා ඇති මම group එකේ watch the recording Ashita. There was an issue with the recording, so I did not issue recordings for 2 or 3 weeks. But recently we were able to recover the recordings, and whatever we could recover, I sent them to you. March ඔක්කොම ටික තියෙනවා, April 4th එකක් තියෙනවා. Some February recordings were missing, however, unfortunately, but we are still trying to recover. Okay, as soon as I recover, I will send them to the group itself. කොහොම හරි longitudinal wave එකක වෙන්නේ. දැන් හිතන්න loudspeaker එකක් කියලා. This loudspeaker, this is how the loudspeaker is moving. Loudspeaker එක ඉස්සරහට යනකොට මේ ඔක්කොම air particles ටික මෙහෙම එක ළඟ collect වෙනවා. When the loudspeaker is moving back, the air particles are now, there's a big gap and the wave is going forward. Do you remember compressions and rarefactions? Shall I show you that video again? I don't like the way you responded to my question. මතක නෑ, sure නෑ වගේනේ respond කරේ. I'll show that video today. Why doesn't chimpanzees have vocal cords? Chimpanzees have vocal cords. Chimpanzee like vocal cords, you know, that is because they're mammals, no good at mammals are they have vocal cords. And we are evolving from chimpanzees and all this, the monkey breed. එතකොට chimpanzees ගේ vocal cords තිබ්බට අපිට තරම් ගොඩක් sounds හදන්න බෑ ඒගොල්ලන්ට. Because we have a very big range, no? අපිට ගොඩක් low pitch ඉඳන් ගොඩක් high pitch වෙනකන් යන්න පුළුවන්. We have a big range. But chimpanzees don't have a very big range. They have a small range. ගොඩක් low pitch පැත්තේ තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ range එක තියෙන්නේ. So they like අර ගොරවන ඒවා ඒ වගේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ sound එක තියෙන්නේ. And also, if you take human beings, we have very like developed speech areas. අපිට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හොඳට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, හොඳට pronounce කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? A features chimpanzee ගේ නැහැ. Because obviously humans are much more developed නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ A features නැහැ chimpanzee ගේ. Chimpanzee ගේ vocal cords එච්චර specialized උත් නැහැ. But of course they have vocal cords. Chimpanzees, orangutans, all these, they have vocal cords. Okay, තිනුර? Okay, let me show you the video. මම කෙලින්ම sound වලට එකක් පෙන්නන්නම්. මේක last week බලපු එක නෙවෙයි. This is a new video that I'm showing you today. Okay, let me share the screen first. Can you all see my screen, Lamai? Can you all see my screen? Okay. හරි ඔන්න මම දැන් මේක play කරනවා.
How is hearing possible when a drum is beaten? When a drum is beaten, the air around the drum experiences high pressure. The air, which are very close to the drum, are pushed away from the drum. This
See. Main තියෙන air particles ළමයි. These are all air particles. You can see how air particles
displaced
are
air
moving.
exerts
සමහර තැන්වල air particles are very closer, සමහර තැන්වල air particles are far away. See?
a force on the adjacent particles and come back to its main position. This process continues in the medium.
So the point where the air particles are very close to each other, we call them compressions. When the air particles are far apart from each other, we call them rarefactions, right?
Till the disturbance created by the vibrating object reaches our ear. Thus,
Now look at that. This
sound
is a bit
propagates.
complicated. One second. Okay, now look at this part. On about sound wave එකක් යන විදිය. See? On the මේ පැත්තේ loudspeaker එකේ එහාට මෙහාට move වෙනවා. එතකොට see. මෙහෙම තමයි move වෙන්නේ. So if you take one particular point, the positions where air particles are very close to each other, we call them compressions. Positions where air particles are far apart from each other, we call them rarefactions. Is this clear, Lamai? Did you get an idea? Give me a thumbs up. Others? Okay, I will share the whiteboard again. Lamai, I have shared the whiteboard. Can you see? Can you all see? Okay. So that is how sound waves are generated. Now, this is where we were talking last. So here in this loudspeaker, so this membrane is going back and forth. එතකොට මේ විදිහට sound waves generate වෙනවා. The places where air particles are close to each other, we call them compressions. Places where air particles are far apart from each other, we call them rarefactions. Okay, that is how sound is propagated. Okay. Here, the sound is generated when a membrane inside the loudspeaker is vibrated. Loudspeaker ke membrane එක vibrate වෙද්දී තමයි sound එක generate වෙන්නේ. When air particles are propagating the sound waves at certain regions, we have to go to the next page, no? Okay. At certain regions, air particles are compressed. We call them compressions. Monkey Samartangal air particles are very close to each other. We call them compressions. At certain regions, air particles are far apart from each other. We call them rarefactions. Okay. All right. Any questions up to that point? Any questions up to that point? Okay, I hope everything is good. You understood everything. Sound propagates through different mediums. In the above example, sound propagates through air. Now, air particles move. Sound also propagates through liquids at a faster speed than air. If you take sound, sound propagates faster in liquids than in air. Whales, even dolphins, they communicate using sound. Have you heard of whale cries? Whale cries or whales are sound. You may have, if you have watched like certain YouTube videos or like documentaries, you may have heard. The sound of a whale, have you heard? Anybody? No? So give me a thumbs up if you have. Have you heard of the sound of a dolphin? Okay. So then that means you can also Google search and find like Google search if you like, if you're on social media or YouTube shorts search whale cry or whale sound there will be multiple videos. So when you watch them, you will hear the sound of a whale. So whales la dolphins sound use to communicate. But not all fish are like that. Most of the fish in the ocean or even freshwater, they don't use sound. But whales, dolphins, especially mammals, they use sound a lot. Sound is also propagated through solids at a faster speed than liquid. Then air will vada faster speed liquids wala. Liquids will vada faster speed solids. Okay. So let's say it's the time for a train to come. Then train එකක් එන වෙලාව හරි. ඔයා මෙහෙම බලද්දි ඔයාට තාම train එක පේන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ? ඔයා ගිහිල්ලා රේල් පීලි තියෙනවනේ. රේල් පීලි කියන්නේ steel rails. steel rail එකක් උඩට කන තියෙනවා. එතකොට සමහරවිට ඔයාට ඇහෙන්න පුළුවන්. That is because when a train is approaching, that sound propagates faster through solids. Solids වලින් fast එනවා. එතකොට ඒකින්ද ඔයාට මුලින්ම sound එක ඇහෙන්නේ solids like through solids. එයා වලින් එන speed එක ඊට වඩා අඩුයි. ඊපස්සේ ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඔයාට sound එක එයා වලින් ඇහෙන්නේ. Okay? However, don't ever try this. Don't ever try to put your ear on the steel rails in a railway track. Don't ever do that. This is just an example. Therefore, we can hear the sound of a train approaching through the steel rails than through air. Air වලින් ඇහෙනවට වඩා fast ඇහෙනවා if you keep the ear on the steel rails. Okay? Snakes also detect vibrations in the ground from its lower jaw bone. This is how they identify prey and predators. Then prey එකක් prey කෙනෙක් හරි I mean let's say some prey or like predator. Predator කියන්නේ ආව attack කරන කෙනෙක්නේ. වගේ එනවා නම් they can't like properly see or hear much. ඒ කියන්නේ they cannot see much. But when they are coming, there are like certain sounds generating. A sound ඔක්කොම ground එක දිගේ snake ගේ පැත්තට එනවා. Ground is solid no. Solid through solid sound travels faster. Therefore, through that snakes can hear the sound of the predator coming faster or detect the vibrations faster. Right? Okay. So if you take solids, liquids and gases, in which medium is the speed of the sound highest? In which medium is the speed of the sound highest? Solid or liquid or gas? Okay, others? Mayumdi, okay. Others, what do you think? Solids or liquid or gas? Others? Fastest, huh? It's actually solids. Solids are the fastest. That is why they say sound also is propagated through solids at a faster speed than in liquid. Then if you take these three mediums, in which medium is the speed of the sound lowest? Where is it lowest? Gases. Therefore, can you all write it here? What sound? Sorry, sound of speed, speed of sound. Speed of sound in solids is highest, higher than liquids. And speed of sound in liquids is higher than gases. Like this. मैंने make a චුට්ටක් draw කරගන්න ළමයි. දන්න ළමයි? Okay, අපි ඊළඟ section එක කළාම නවත්තමු. I will finish exactly at 9:30. Yeah. Okay. Activity to demonstrate. Now we said for sound to propagate, there must be a material medium. That means either solid or liquid or gas. Solid hari, liquid hari, gas hari තියෙන්නම ඕනේ කියලා කිව්වා. So නිකන් කිව්වට එහෙම we don't accept. No, we have to test it. We have to see if it's true. So this is what I do. I have this setup. There's an electric bell inside. Actually electric bell එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක මෙහෙම circuit එකකින් එළියට connect කරලා තියෙනවා. See power supply එකකින් එළියට connect කරලා තියෙනවා. And then also මේ bottle එකට vacuum pump එකක් connect කරලා තියෙනවා. Vacuum pump එකකින් කරන්නේ, the purpose of a vacuum pump is it's pumping all the air particles inside the jar to the outside. ඇතුලේ තියෙන air particles ටික ඔක්කොම එළියට pump කරගන්නවා. ඒත් ඇතුලේ air particles එන්නේ අඩු වෙනවා. So now we are going to start. What we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to switch this circuit on. When you switch on the circuit, what will happen? There will be current and the bell will ring. Bell එක ring වෙනවා. ඔන්නවට හොඳට ඇහෙනවා bell එක ring වෙනවා. Then මම මොකද කරන්නේ? Switch on the vacuum pump. When I switch on the vacuum pump, vacuum කියන්නේ එන්න air particles එළියට යනවා. They pump it in, like they pump it. You can vacuum pump again, all the air particles will be taken out of the bottle. So ඔක්කොම air particles යනවා කියන්නේ gradually inside the jar, the number of air particles are reducing. එහෙම අඩු වෙනකොට අඩු වෙලා at some point there will be no air particles. Then what will happen? You will not hear the sound. Right? So එතකොට ඒ කියන්නේ you have this vessel. Now the bell, the bell is ringing. But inside air is there, no? Air means gases, right? It's a medium. So because of that, when the bell is ringing, you hear that sound. But now what you're doing is, you are taking all the air out from the vacuum pump. මේ ඔක්කොම air ටික දැන් ඔන්න air චුට්ටක් අඩු වෙනවා. අඩු වෙනකොට sound එකත් පොඩ්ඩක් අඩු වෙනවා. Right? මොකද material medium එක අඩු වෙනවානේ. Now තව චුට්ටක් air අඩු වෙනවා. Now sound එක තවත් අඩු වෙනවා. Then at some point all the air will be vacuumed out of the jar. So there will be no air particles inside the bottle. No air particles means no material medium. Therefore, the bell is still ringing. Bell එක ring වෙනවා හැබැයි වට ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකෙන් අපිට prove කරගන්න පුළුවන් definitely there must be a material medium for you to hear sound. Is that clear, lamai? Is that clear? Others? Mayuri, Metmi, Rashmika, Savinu, Tinura? Okay. So let's read this. Electric bell is fixed in a bell jar. මේ වගේ jar එකකට කියනවා මේ bell jar කියලා. It is connected to a power supply. When power is given, the bell will ring. Or switch on කරාම bell එක ring වෙනවා. Bell jar is connected to a vacuum pump from which air inside can be pumped out. Okay. So at the beginning, air is present inside. Now at the beginning, air is there. Now what will happen is, so when you switch on, the bell will ring. ඇතුලේ air තියෙනවනේ, so bell එක ring වෙනවා. Then the vacuum pump is turned on. So this will gradually pump out the air inside the bell jar. The sound of the electric bell will gradually decrease and finally no sound is heard. Okay, so explanation එක තමයි at the beginning, since air is present, when the bell rings, you can hear it. But when air inside is slowly pumped out, ඇතුලේ air එන්නේ අඩු වෙලා, and then there will be no air. Then no air means no material medium. So even though the bell is on, bell එක වැඩ කරන හැබැයි ඔයාලට sound එක ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ. Is that clear, lamai? From this we can understand, we can be very sure that a material medium must be there for sound to propagate. Okay. All right, so we'll wrap up from there. So whatever we did today, is it clear to all of you? Give me a thumbs up if everything is clear from what we did today. Okay, Metmi, okay, Chenuli, Mayumdi, Metna, Rashmika, okay. Mayuri, Savinu, Tinuru, okay. Mayuri, okay. Savinu? Let me know. All right. So let me remind you one last time, there will be a mini quiz next week from the first 2 biology lessons. So please prepare and come. ඔගන්ට බලබල ඉන්න වෙලා පොතෙන් පෙරල බලනවා මම Google කරලා උත්තරේ දානවා ඒව කරන්න වෙලාව නැහැ. It's going to be a rapid question round. LMS access will be given next week. No, ඕගලන්ගේ logins හදලා තියෙන්නේ. Grade 11 logins with හදලා තියෙන්නේ. I think last week කවදාද දවසක logins හැදුවා ඔක්කොම. I think Wednesday or Thursday we made all the logins. Grade 10 එකත් එක්කම ඔයගලන්ගෙත් හැදුවා. Right? So all the logins will be shared to you. කොහොමත් share කරලා I have to give a demonstration, otherwise you don't know how to do it, right? So I will give a demonstration. Then what else? Yeah, that's all. And also, මම කල්නුත් කියලා තියෙනවා, let me tell you again, your attendance is very important. If you are absent for more than 3 weeks without any reason, you will be removed from the class and you will be removed from the group. I'm going to strictly follow that. මොකද හැමදාම කියනවා විතරයි කවදාවත් කරන්නේ නැහැනේ. So you take it very lightly. You don't take it very seriously. So that is why I'm going to implement it. Like I'm going to actually do it. Attendance අඩුයි නම් කිසිම reason එකක් දීලා නැත්නම් මට inform කළා නැත්නම් you will be removed. Okay? So එහෙම එක්කෙනෙකුට දෙන්නෙකුට හරි කරද්දී others will learn the lesson. Otherwise, I just say you never listen to me. You take me very lightly sometimes because punishments I don't do usually. But this time I thought the attendance is very important. It's a crucial thing. You have to be present in the class. Not everything you can cover with recordings, okay? Okay, that's all. Then let's wrap up, Lamai. And we will be meeting next week on 25th. No. Yes, 25th. 25th April තමයි අපි ආය හම්බ වෙන්නේ. Yes, so until we meet again. Okay, Mayuri, since it's your first day, let know on WhatsApp whether you will continue the class or not. Then the miss in the office, she's Miss Divya. She will guide you through the rest. Okay. Okay, Lamai, then good night. See you next week. Until then, have a great week. Good night.